From chopped heads, dragons, and plot lines that had you hooked, to a rather frustrating end that ends up taking down your favorite character, Game of Thrones did not age well. Even the show's star, Emilia Clarke, wished for a better end. Yep, the Daenerys Targaryen actress was very shocked by the turn of events for the Khaleesi. Fans and actors of Game of Thrones alike have spoken out about the outcomes of the roles they have played. They are extremely passionate about their favorite Westerosi characters, and at DreamItCon, Emilia talked about the Daenerys Targaryen finale. Since many felt that the writers of the series failed the character, Clarke's perspective on the character's destiny is perhaps one of the most intriguing that fans expected to see. Khaleesi's demise was one of the most contentious in the franchise. The actress took the chance to discuss how she wanted the show to conclude for her character during her appearance at DreamItCon. According to reports, the actress's ideal conclusion included Jon Snow and Daenerys living happily ever after. Yep, even she wanted the fairy tale ending, with a sprinkle of incest. She shared that she wanted Jon to be with the Khaleesi. According to her, they could resolve their problems by attending family therapy. Clarke said that Daenerys is a very hopeful character, she has a lot of aspirations, and she wished that she was able to realize them. Her perception of Dany as a hopeful character is consistent with the opinions of many fans who had loved the persona prior to her dark turn. But that's not all. Apparently, Emilia thinks that Daenerys did nothing wrong. Yep, the Me Before You actress shared that she's with her, and it's not fair that Jon gets to live his life. Playing the Khaleesi marked an era in Clarke's life because she was very attached to the character and had experienced several health problems prior to taking on the role. Being a true supporter of the turned Mad Queen, she argued that even Snow's end is more appropriate. Jon Snow, who at the end of the series was found living peacefully as a wildling beyond the ruins of the Wall, is still a dignified ending. He's finally freed from the chains of his responsibility. He was left with trauma, and the capacity to let go of the obligation is a milestone. And yes, the spinoff for the character may have a less merciful conclusion, but that's not the point here. Before you guys ask, despite Emilia wishing for a different end for her character, she has already stated that she would not reprise her role in any spinoffs, because there seem to be many on the horizon. But it appears that she has already closed that part of her life and has no desire to look back. So fans shouldn't anticipate seeing the character once more. I guess we'll simply have to make peace with the cards we've been dealt with. Besides, the franchise is to be held responsible. Daenerys Targaryen gave Game of Thrones a chance to create something majestic, and they threw it away. Initially, they took the time to create compelling character arcs over several seasons of Game of Thrones. Jaime's or the Hound's salvation was gradual, meticulously planned developments until they weren't, but they weren't even the biggest blow by the franchise. Even if they wished to turn Khaleesi into a villain, they could have done it brilliantly. Daenerys' transformation from protagonist to antagonist ought to have been a success in story development. The carefully curated progression from Breaker of Chains to Mad Queen killed by her lover could have been a wise, sincere, and riveting storytelling decision. I mean, if the showrunners were trying to make the point that power corrupts everyone, they could have done it differently and actually sold the plot. Instead, the show's producers chose to have Daenerys' growing paranoia develop over the course of just a few episodes, allow her to lose it in an instant, and then punish her for it by having Jon kill her in the very next episode. That shock alone left fans grasping at straws because of what they've just witnessed. In a recent interview, actress Emilia Clarke stated if she were to place herself in Jon Snow's shoes, she would have done things differently. He could have at least talked to the Mother of Dragon, showed his remorse, and given the woman a chance. Perhaps the scene alone would have proven to be the Mad Queen's salvation. Allowing the Targaryen to speak her truths would have made for a powerful story. Along with Tyrion and Jon, Daenerys had spent years as an underdog who could defy expectations. She was one of the second-class citizens, regarded as a broken thing all through the series. But like the rest of them, she rose above it. In a society where males frequently treated women like trash, smash, Daenerys outsmarted and defeated them. She was positioned to be one of the few clearly heroic characters in the series because she was the only protagonist in her own plot. Then, in the 8th season, viewers witnessed her collapse in a single scene. Just like that, they made her snap. Daenerys saw the Red Keep, became enraged, and decided to do something she'd never done before: kill innocent citizens without cause. For any other death or killing, they've had probable cause. The viewers had a reason to hate it, but still understand it. The same can be said for her assassination. Before Jaime stabbed the Mad King Aerys in the back, his subjects had to endure years of his brutal reign. Olenna planned Joffrey's poisoning for months. Even the Night's Watchmen who executed Jon must have held a few things to decide what they would do before killing him. But Jon was able to approach an inexplicably unguarded Daenerys and stab her. After just one pep talk from Tyrion about how someone really ought to stop that crazy lady, and then, not with an explosion, but rather with a whimper, the Mother of Dragons was gone. Again, just like that. It's challenging to distinguish the composition of the writer's room from the complaints of many supporters regarding Daenerys' treatment this season. Not to make it a feminist issue, but perhaps it is. She gets no excuses, no passes, one slip, and she's done for. Jon Snow didn't even go through emotional turmoil for 15 minutes before stabbing the woman he loves. But for the sake of an argument, let's examine precisely how Khaleesi got to where she was in the finale. For better or for worse, Daenerys lived by a code of fairness. It was a little custom-made, but it was there. The woman pursued the Iron Throne with unwavering focus. The character always had a messiah complex, as many have correctly noted. She freed slaves and punished slave owners on the grounds that she was bringing peace to the world. Of course, this is the reasoning behind many Western leaders who carry out atrocities in the name of democracy or benevolent rule. So yes, that fact alone should have foreshadowed her eventual flip and ultimate downfall. But still, Daenerys is primarily portrayed as a hero in the first few seasons of Game of Thrones. She demonstrated a commitment to justice throughout her existence. Her brothers told her that she had allowed thousands of men to rape her in order to win the Iron Throne before we first encountered her in a number of scenes. After that, she committed herself to helping those who had been ignored and manhandled. She tried to halt the Dothraki's raping and plundering of their conquered peoples, but eventually failed and lost her husband and child in the process. Daenerys certainly used Dracarys to punish plenty of people during her reign, but up until the sack of King's Landing, she always gave some compelling reason for doing so. The character is simply deeply flawed and deserved a better end than she received. But alas, it is how it is. That's all from Emilia Clarke and her take on the end of Khaleesi's story.